So here we are on step 11, and I'm just going to read the instructions out loud, and then you can read in between the lines. Try on pants. Adjust the elastic to fit comfortably so that the top of the casing is 1 inch below your natural waistline. Stitch ends of elastic together securely. So there's a lot more going on than those simple instructions. First of all, you got to put the pants on, and then you got to make sure that they fit properly. And then once you have the elastic established, you put a safety pin where you want the elastic to be stitched. And then you take off the pants, and then you sew up the elastic like it's illustrated here. So there's going to be a lot of wiggling around in your pajama pants and trying to figure out how to pin the elastic. So we'll have a whole bunch of steps using the actual pajama pants that I hope will be a bit clearer than these blithe instructions. So here are my pajama pants inside out. Here's the front and here's the back. And in the back here is where your elastic is that you're going to have to adjust it. So you got to put the pants on, and then you have to tighten the elastic. If you put them on with the front facing the front, you might have a hard time trying to adjust where that safety pin is going to go. So since you're only worried about the placement where the pants lie on your waist, my suggestion is to put the pants on backwards. Now it's going to get a little bunchy in the crotch area because, it's where it might not be very comfortable. But this way you have the pants on and you can fiddle with the elastic without having to get somebody else to help you. My waist is here, and so the pants need to live about 1 inch below the waist. You can kind of feel it like in the crotch. If you pull it up too high, you'll get a wedgie, and then you'll know that that's not where they're supposed to go. So, I guess if you wanted to have them like lower than that, you could also adjust them that way. But they've been engineered to be about 1 inch below your waist. So I'm going to take this elastic very carefully so I don't lose it, and I'm going to tighten the elastic until it feels comfortable. If you have a second safety pin, maybe you just want to use that in case you accidentally lose your grip on the elastic. Anyway, so I've tightened the elastic like this. Fits pretty good. It's on backwards though, so of course it's not going to fit perfectly. And so the next step is to mark where the safety pin is, and then instead of having them butt up, you're going to overlap them, and then you're going to stitch a little box around the overlap. Stitch ends of elastic together securely. So I'm going to be yanking my elastic out to give me a little bit of breathing room. And so I have my safety pin here, which is where I closed it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it with a pencil on both sides of the elastic. And again, I've pulled it out a little bit, considerably from the casing so that I can work with it, but I don't want to yank on any other direction too much because I don't want that casing to get lost. So undoing this, I'm now going to trim the elastic. If this is my mark, I'm going to trim about 1 inch, 1.5 inches away from that mark. And the same on the other side. Here's my mark. And I'm going to trim also like 1 inch, 1 inch away from that. So now what you got to do is you have to overlap your two pieces of elastic. So the top, here's the one line, and you're going to have to line it up with the other line like that. And you can stick your trusty safety pin through those two lines like this. Make sure that's secure. And then you can test it out. So in case you accidentally twisted the elastic someplace through, like, did I twist it? Yes, you see, mine's twisted. So it's a good thing I checked, because I'm going to have to repin this. And pull this out again. So this side is good, but I have to twist this into the other direction, like so. So that's why it's good to check. So on this side the pencil is facing up, and on this side the pencil mark is going to be on the other side. So I'm going to repin it again, like this, Double check again to make sure that's secure. And then I'm going to run this again through the casing. And here it is. So it looks good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch the elastic shut. So you're basically going to stitch on the here and on here, those two sides. You could try stitching a rectangle, but the problem is because this stretches so much, your stitching up here when it stretches might pop. So it's not important to do the stitching on the top and the bottom, especially because we're sewing it by hand. It's most important for you to stitch on these two lines because the elastic doesn't stretch in that direction. So again, and this has to be very secure, so you're definitely using a double thread with a big knot. And you're just stitching the living daylights out of this waistband. So I'm just going to overcast it maybe 2 or 3 times on the top. Maybe just this time I'm going to do a back stitch. You just have to sew it over and over and over and over again because you just don't want to lose this elastic inside the casing. That's one side, and now I'm going to stitch down the other side the same way.